another blessed day, Thursday afternoon. The Lord has given us this chance to continue with our topic of last week. We were here and people were blessed. We had the topic called mental health. And we are back to continue with where we stopped. And we have a doctor, my friend, called Dr. Zippora. And she's going to introduce herself so that we continue where we left last Thursday. Daktari, karibu sana.
Thank you, Reverend Nancy, my friend. It's a pleasure for me to be here today. I thank God for the opportunity. My name is Dr. Zippora Kailu Kaaria. I am a senior lecturer at Kenya Methodist University in counseling psychology.
Yes.
And I worship at CITAM Kangudo Road. Thank you.
How is CITAM?
CITAM is a good church.
Yes.
Yes.
They are good?
Yes, yes.
Okay, God bless you. I would like my viewer, if you are joining us for the first time, we want to do a recap of what we did last Thursday. So I would like Dr. to just give us a brief introduction of what is mental health and some of the things that we talked about last Thursday.
Thank you. Last week was our first session, and we looked at what mental health is.
Yes.
We also saw mental health can be, some mental conditions can be inherited. Mm-hmm. We also looked at the need for awareness on mental health. And we looked at some of the aspects, how you can tell a person has got a mental health challenge.
Yes.
If you don't know the person.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. In a nutshell, that is what we did, my viewer. And today we are continuing where we stopped. I would like to ask Daktari, because you are good in this topic called mental health. Would you mind to explain to us some of the mental health challenges or mental disorders that we see with people? What are they? What are the mental, what are some of the mental challenges that you know or you have come to contact with?
Thank you. Thank you. I have come across a number of mental health challenges.
Yes.
In clinical settings.
Oh, yeah.
And even outside in the larger society.
Yes.
For example, we have depression, which is very, very common. Mm-hmm. Depression.
Yes.
I will give an overview of what it is later. We have bipolar disorders, anxiety disorders,
yes.
Schizophrenia, conversion disorder, which is very common in children, especially in girl children, and elimination disorders. A child who had stopped even defecating on themselves or bedwetting, all of a sudden starts, despite their developmental stage, which can occur as a result of a stressor.
Yes.
Post-traumatic stress disorder, when a person has gone through a traumatic incident and it is not well addressed, it progresses to post-traumatic stress disorder. And we have also mood disorders, like, I've mentioned mood disorders. We also have got many other types of disorders, like psychotic disorders, like schizophrenia, brief psychotic disorder, mental retardation. There are very many. Sleep disorders. Yes. Yeah.
Lack of sleep.
And lack of sleep and many other types of sleep problems.
Okay.
And we also have substance-induced disorders. That is mental problems arising out of abuse of substance or like nicotine, alcohol, and many others. And I mentioned last week, ADHD.
Okay.
Yes. Those are some of the examples.
Okay.
Maybe I can just explain a few.
Okay.
Like depression is very common today.
Yes.
And it is the major risk factor for suicide. A person who has got depression is sad most of the time, loses interest in previously enjoyed activities. Like me, I'm a teacher. I start losing interest in my lecturing job.
Okay.
I isolate myself from people, and there's tendency to cry most of the time. It's like my world has collapsed. A person feels like they are walking down a dark tunnel.
Yes.
And these features or these symptoms, they are usually observed at least for a duration of 2 weeks. That is depression.
Okay.
Bipolar is the mood swinging from very high, that is, a person is in a very elated mood, that is mania, and then it fluctuates from mania and goes deep down to depression. Again, the depression should last 2 weeks, the mania at least 7 days. So when a person is in a manic episode, they will spend even money on causes which are not worthy. They will engage in risky activities like overindulging in sex,
Yes.
even going for shopping sprees, entertaining people they don't know with their money, enjoying, even they can run purposelessly,
Yes.
even the whole day. With no, with no goal oriented. I mean, with no goal or orientation.
Yes.
And many other things when a person is, and talking too much. That is now being in a manic episode. And then being in a depressive episode, it is all those symptoms of depression that I mentioned. That is bipolar. Bipolar, we have bipolar 1 and 2. I will not go to the details, but a person fluctuates from high to low. Yeah. Then we have a conversion disorder, which is very common in children, and I want to bring this out.
Yes.
I observed this in Kenyatta Hospital, and recently I've started seeing it even in the larger society.
Yes.
Children will even stop talking. Yeah, a person that goes mute cannot talk. And it is not pretending.
Yes.
No. And when they go mute, they cannot talk. Then others will all of a sudden be unable to walk.
Okay.
Or you cannot hold things with your hand. You hold things, they fall down.
Okay.
Or they even faint. You hear a child has collapsed in school, fell down, and they don't know where they are for about 10 minutes, 20 minutes.
Yes.
And this sets the parents into a lot of panic. You know the contributing factor to this? It is stress. When a person experiences stress for a long time and they are not able to address it in a constructive way,
yes.
And for children, the problem is limited ability to express themselves, especially younger children. Because they are not expressing, that stress builds up and it kind of, there's a mental overload. Now it starts manifesting through the body, through falling down, collapsing, being unable to walk, being unable to hold things, being unable to talk, etc., etc. So children need to be talked to be able to share what is stressing them up. Because this problem worries parents a lot. They will go and take children through CT scan, they will take them through EEG, they will take them through MRI, but there is no cause that is identified. There is no sickness. So parents now start wondering, what is it? This child has troubled me a lot, and I'm being told there is no problem. How come? I remember one time we did an assessment of a child in Kenyatta Hospital when I was an intern there in 2010. And we found that it was conversion disorder. We presented the case.
What age?
The child was around 10 years.
10 years.
We presented the case to the team. And then the doctor finally, the psychiatrist finally shared with the parent and said, this child has got no medical problem. The parent broke down and cried uncontrollably. So we asked her, Ma'am, why are you crying? She said, you mean you can say there is no problem when this child has disturbed me all through and even now he is not talking? She was told, there is a problem, but it is not a medical problem. The child does not need any medication. It is a problem that is to do with the stress. That is why he's not talking. So if he knows how to express himself well, if he has an avenue to express himself well, he will not have that problem. So there is a problem, but it is not a medical cause. We cannot give medication. Then the lady understood. And so we have other psychotic problems like schizophrenia. This is very common in our society. We find these people we call mad people in the streets, wendawazimu. That is schizophrenia. A person loses touch with reality. And their affect, that is mood,
Yes.
they can express it inappropriately, like laughing in a funeral, as I said last week.
Yes.
Or even crying when everybody else is happy.
It's laughing.
They can run relentlessly, you know, making purposeless movements.
Yes.
Yeah. They can also, they are not able to think well because it affects their cognitions.
Okay.
Yeah, they are not able to think well.
Okay.
The thinking is disorganized. So a person will even speak like they are speaking to somebody and you cannot see the person.
See them.
They hold those beliefs I talked about, false beliefs,
Yes.
delusions. And they can be suspicious of everything and everybody.
Yes.
So they can even think you are coming to attack them, and they attack you first. So, yeah, that's when we find them. We find them hostile. They also engage in disorganized behaviors like walking nude, you know, even masturbating in public, fantasizing sexually in public. Yeah, those are characteristics of schizophrenia. Yeah.
Okay. What
Yeah.
about this problem of you just, because I have heard of these cases of, I have a neighbor and it's like, anitaki mazuri, out of the blue. And it's like you think, this neighbor is bewitching me. What is that? Can it be a disorder?
It can be a disorder, especially if it has been observed for a substantial period of time. Yeah, there is a pattern in which it has been occurring. But if it is a one-day thing or 2 days, or a very short duration, it may not be easy to place it or label it as a disorder. But if it is a pattern that has been observed for quite some time, and that is not the way the person has previously been, it's likely to be a mental disorder.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned of students and falling down and collapsing. And I would like to ask you, Daktari, what about when they are nearing to do the exams? Because I have tackled a case in school. And there is a girl who was falling down. She's there, she has collapsed. And when she goes home, she recovers. Or when that season of exams go, the girl is okay. What is that?
Thank you. It's likely to be that conversion disorder because we said it is stress related, or the trigger is stress. So why during exam time? Because exams are stressors in themselves. There is a lot of revising.
You are a teacher, you can educate us
Yes.
on that.
I identify with that very well.
Yes.
When students are preparing for exams, they actually get stressed up. And if a person does not know how to manage that stress well,
Yes.
or to cope well, they can easily snap into that conversion disorder. So why do they get well when they go to the home setting?
Yes.
Because the stress of the exam is not there at
It's
home.
over.
It's over. So the person gets well.
Yes.
Actually, when the stress is over, the person comes back to normal.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Some will actually convert when they remember or they see that thing which has been stressing them. They quickly convert. Yes.
Okay.
Because they have remembered or they have seen something that has reminded them of that thing that has been troubling them. Yes.
And how do you handle that, especially to the parent? How do you counsel the parent?
Let me refer to some cases I dealt with in Kenyatta Hospital when I was an intern.
Yes.
I remember this one case of a child I recommended from home. I come from Meru.
Okay.
And there's a child who had been treated in several hospitals, being hospitalized,
Yes.
and he was not getting well. He would get well in the hospital. When he goes home, he starts the conversion. And to some extent, it reached a point they believed he had epilepsy. So when I was told about it, I called them. They came to Kenyatta where I was doing my practice.
Yeah.
We did an assessment with my friend, and we realized it was conversion disorder. And we gave a diagnosis, which we reported to the team. And the parents were told that the problem was conversion. And the reasons for that is this child was not being treated well. It was being given a lot of responsibilities which should be given to adults.
Okay.
No time to play, no time to be a child.
Okay.
He had even lost his mother. He had not stayed long after losing his mother. I think he was overwhelmed by all that stress.
Okay.
And this child would collapse or faint anywhere, at school, at home, anywhere. Yes.
Okay.
And so the father was told he was a bit harsh to the child.
Okay.
He needs to treat that child with leniency. He needed to give the child time to be a child, to play like with other children.
Himself.
And also to be given time to heal from the death of the mother. And when they went home, I followed them up. I followed them up, and they told me they even brought a pastor who prayed for the child.
Yes.
And the child went on well and healed completely. And now he is completely healed. He got well.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
So parents need to identify what is stressing up the child and help the child to deal with that stress.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. And what are the contributing factors of this?
Any stressor to a child, some of the things that we don't think are stressors can stress children.
Like?
One example, a child in Kenyatta Hospital I assessed. The father had promised to buy a bicycle if he attained 400 marks out of 500. He attained that, but the father did not buy the bicycle. That stressed him up. He got disappointed.
The father forgot?
No. He just refused to buy.
Okay.
The child got disappointed. The child was taken to a boarding school against his will, and then he said he was being bullied in school. That was also another stressor. He said only the mother visited him in school. The father never visited him. What? That was another stressor. And then he said he wanted to come to Nairobi and live with the father, like the other children who are staying with the father in Nairobi. Those things are stressors enough for a child.
Yes.
And that is what was making him convert. So actually the father promised he would fulfill those unmet promises. And the child went back home talking. He came in without talking, went back talking. When he was given that assurance.
The boy could not talk.
He came without talking for a number of days. We were actually talking through writing.
That's serious.
I would ask questions through writing, he would answer back writing.
Yes.
But when we finished, and the father cooperated and said, I'll provide this, I'll do this, I'll do this.
Yes.
But I told him, Mzee, don't accept to be manipulated by this child. Provide what you can provide.
Yes.
And
what you are able.
Yes. And I told the child, Kijana, don't ask for too much. Ask for what is necessary.
Yes.
So we agreed. And I told him, now you will go home talking. And so I told him, repeat this after me. And after some time, after several attempts, he repeated. He repeated the ones I was saying.
Yes.
And he started talking to the amazement of the father. Yes.
Wow. These things happen?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. And how was the father? How was the father? That when he understood that, okay, the reason why my son was not talking is because I did not fulfill my promises. What was the father? What was the reaction of the father?
He was actually very sorry. He felt guilty.
Yes.
He asked, you mean I'm the one who has contributed to all this?
To all this.
To all this problem. And you know the child had come for assessment earlier on.
Yes.
We recommended that the father comes, and the father became very busy at work. He didn't come. But when the problem started again, he actually called and he came. Yes, so he was very guilty, apologetic to the child.
Yes.
And he said now he will do what he was supposed to do.
How old was the boy?
12 years.
12 years.
Yes.
Okay. Daktari, you are really enlightening us. God bless you. And these problems, how can they affect an individual? These challenges of mental health, how can they affect an individual?
Probably before I say how they can affect an individual and the family, maybe I can just give some information about what is it that is contributing to some of these problems, apart from stress that I have mentioned.
Okay.
We also have biological factors contributing to a number of mental disorders.
Okay.
Biological factors are like the problem being passed from parents to children, that is genetically.
Okay.
We also have other biological problems like we have neurotransmitters. This may not be easily understood by lay people, but we have some brain chemicals that pass impulses from one nerve cell to another.
Okay.
They are called neurotransmitters. And neurotransmitters, sometimes they can get imbalanced.
Okay.
We have one called dopamine, for example. When dopamine goes in excess, it has been implicated with problems like schizophrenia. When dopamine goes down, it has been implicated with problems like Parkinson's disease.
Okay.
That one where people have got tremors of the hands.
Okay.
When there's a neurotransmitter called serotonin, it is usually associated, when it has got some imbalance, it is associated with depression. And also another one called norepinephrine. We also have got anxiety disorders.
Yes.
There's a neurotransmitter called GABA, which is gamma amino butyric acid. When that one, there is a problem with the balance, it can trigger, or it has been implicated with problems to do with anxiety. Okay. So we have, that is how neurotransmitters are associated with mental disorders.
Okay.
And we also have got cases of brain damage or something to do with the brain, a part of the brain not working well, like in cases of head trauma, like in cases of accident. It can cause injury to the brain or some damage to particular parts of the brain, and then that can contribute to mental disorders.
Okay.
Yeah. So those are biological factors. And even toxins. Like during pregnancy, toxins can affect an unborn child. It also depends on what the mother is taking. Mothers who take a lot of alcohol.
When they are pregnant.
Yes, and nicotine, like cigarette. There is a way it affects the unborn child. Even the IQ, it can cause low IQ.
Really?
Yes. It can influence, can cause mental retardation. It affects other features, but in most cases, mental retardation. So there's a way alcohol, when a mother abuses alcohol during pregnancy, it can influence the mental well-being of a child. A child can be born with a problem called fetal alcohol syndrome. Yes, which even shows on the face. Yeah, if you see the face of such a child,
how does it look like?
A face which has got, like, the nose ridge is flat. You know, there's a ridge of the nose?
Yes.
It's flat. Yes. And the eyes not looking normal. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you can know this baby, maybe the mother.
One can easily notice and see there is a problem. Yes.
Okay.
Then other factors are psychosocial factors.
Okay.
That is psychological, social, and even economic factors.
Yes.
And actually today, these are the biggest problem in relation to mental illnesses.
Yes.
Psychological factors like carrying a lot of guilt, unable to deal with anger, that can snap into a mental problem. You know, the unmet promises, like the case of that child that I've talked about, you know? Yes. Or even a person who engages in absolutes. You say this must happen. When it doesn't happen,
today and now.
It must happen. When it doesn't happen, believe me, you can easily snap into a mental problem. So we need to use preferences instead of absolutes. And others, the way we appraise our situations, we call it cognitive appraisal. How I see situations in my life, it can break me down or not. So for example, I have a problem and I'm seeing like I cannot come out of this. Yes. And it disturbs me so much.
This is my head now.
This is the head of me. Kwisha mimi. That can be. It can also, a person can easily snap into a mental problem when they have got poor cognitive appraisal of a situation in their life, because it will end up causing a lot of stress. And stress again can bring a person down in terms of their mental wellness. And we have got other psychosocial stressors like even relationship breakage. Some relationships breaking, there will be some people not the same. Yeah, like loss through death.
Yes.
Relationship breaks.
Yes.
Like through divorce.
Okay.
Separation.
Okay.
Depending on the value that the person had put in that relationship, it can cause mental breakdown.
Okay.
And other psychosocial problems, like what? Like even stress, like academic stress. We have just mentioned it in schools.
Yes.
Yes. Or even lack of basics. Some people will not be able to cope with lack. Yes. They are not able to delay gratification. They want now and now. And that can be a problem that can affect mental health substantially.
Okay.
We also have got economic problems. Some people, financial constraints can be their breaking point.
Yes.
Financial constraints. Like what we are experiencing in the country today. A lot of people have seriously been affected.
Yes.
So financial constraints, that is economic pressure.
Yes.
Even, you are going for retirement and you have not prepared well.
Okay.
That can be a serious problem.
Preparation as in?
Not prepared.
Preparation as in, you have not built, you are...
Yes, you have not built. Maybe you are staying in a government house. You have, you have nowhere to go back to. You have not had a good saving culture. So you have no finances. You are growing old. You have no income after retirement. Yeah. So now the life changes substantially.
Okay.
This is, my life goes down. This is not what I was used to. That one. Okay. It can also be it can be the genesis of mental problems. But again, it depends on how a person appraises that problem.
Yes.
We also have people suffering because of social comparison. Let me talk about that one. Social comparison.
Social comparison.
My friend Nancy has bought this good car. I have not been able to buy it. And it becomes my problem. How come she has been able to acquire that? I've not been able to acquire that.
Yes.
My friend now gets a certain level of academic excellence. I've not reached there, or a promotion. And it becomes pain. My pain.
Oh, yeah.
I want to be like her. Well, it is going to have healthy competition. But when it is unhealthy, I feel so bad and so sad about people's achievements.
Okay.
And I'm not trying to do anything to reach there. Then that's social comparison. I want to live your life. I don't know how you have been able to do that.
How I'm making my both ends meet.
Yes, it is a problem. I remember one lady telling me, Zippora, you people, young people, when I was young, you want to live the life that has taken me 30, 40 years to live.
It's not possible.
And I said, yes. Possible. I said, yes. No wonder we have people breaking down because they are just entering into the job market and they want to be CEOs.
Yes.
They are entering the job market and they want to have that posh car.
It's
they want to go live in that posh estate.
It's a journey.
They want these nice things of life immediately. It is good to have those good things.
Yes.
But stop comparing yourself with others.
Yes.
And give yourself time. So there are many psychosocial and economic stressors that are actually affecting people and their mental wellness substantially to a point of developing mental disorders.
We have gotten so many things out of one question. And we are remaining with 4 minutes.
Let me now explain how mental disorders will affect people. It starts with when a person develops a mental problem, you will even see them breaking down emotionally. They lose emotional stability. They will lose touch with the reality. They don't even know where they are.
Yes.
They can even get confused to a point of losing orientation to where they are.
Yes.
And you are in a familiar place and you don't know where you are. And of course, even performance goes down. If it is a student, A student goes down to C and D. A mother forgets even to take care of her children. She forgets those. She's not able to perform those simple motherly duties. Yeah?
Okay.
A person will even be doing this activity and forgets. Then a person might even start developing memory lapses. Yes?
Okay.
It can affect one's self-esteem. A person's self-esteem can go down. Yes.
Okay.
It can affect very many things. Even interpersonal relationships. A person can have very poor relationships. Even a person who was really very outgoing, a person who relates well with people, starts isolating. It can be, mental disorders can contribute to that.
Okay.
So they can affect a person from the individual level to the family level to the workplace, such that they start becoming chronic absentees, problems with the punctuality. They can even end up losing their jobs. And now, as a way of coping, a person may end up even abusing alcohol and other substances as a way of trying to cope with their problems. So they end up engaging in maladaptive coping mechanisms. Yes. Yes. And they can even start doubting God.
Okay.
Yes. They can even start doubting God. So it can affect even a person's spirituality.
Okay.
Yes.
Have a minute. Talk about anxiety. Being a mental disorder.
Anxiety.
Anxiety.
There are so many things that can cause anxiety. When we worry too much, a little bit of anxiety is good. Because it actually motivates us to action. But when we worry excessively as a result of some things maybe not working in our lives, we can't sleep, we can't eat, we cannot, it becomes so impairing that a person is not able to do the normal small things that we do in life. That level of anxiety, it becomes now a problem. It becomes a mental disorder. And it needs to be addressed. Yes.
My viewer, you have heard it all from our doctor, Dr. Zippora. There is a lot she has talked about, and we have not finished actually what we came to talk about. But we thank God that God has given us that time, and at least you have known something today. We are to come back next week, a time like now, Thursday next week. You'll be here even to continue with our series. God bless you, Daktari. Say again your names because of maybe a viewer who has come when you are teaching. Just say your name, where you come from, and even your contact, and the Lord will bless you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, my dear Fred. As I said before, I am Dr. Zippora Kailu Kaaria. I am a senior lecturer at Kenya Methodist University in counseling psychology, and I worship and fellowship in Sitam Kangudo Road branch.
God bless you.
Thank you.
God bless you, Dr. Zippora. Thank you so much for enlightening us. God bless you for coming. And I believe when we call you again, you'll come, because actually you are doing something great in our lives. God bless you. Continue watching us every Thursday, and the Lord will bless you. Bye-bye. We love you. Shalom.
Thank you.